This is Alex.
Patrick.
Do you have a stutter or something?
No.
Sorry the show is late this week. We had a shark attack incident. That's why
No, we
Yaman's
didn't.
not
Everybody's
here.
just busy. Also, Yaman's probably not going to be on for a couple times. We're just figuring stuff out.
Yeah, there's a lot of logistics.
People are busy.
Of a new job. Got
Stop making
shit.
it sound so fancy. Always the words like, yeah, well, you pitched it to me, or we're working out the scheduling issues. Just shut up.
It is a scheduling issue. That's
It is
what
not a scheduling issue. You make it sound so fancy.
That's not fancy. Scheduling issue is the same as
Scheduling
saying, like,
issues make this sound like a job.
Okay, what else should I say? Like, we're just busy? I mean, it's the same thing.
That's it.
Okay.
That's literally
fine.
all there is to it.
People are busy. We can't figure out what times to do this because everyone does different stuff at different times, and that's how the world
Thank you.
works. Anyways,
Now people will understand. Otherwise, you're using fancy words and they'll be confused. Their stupid heads won't understand it.
exactly. We have an audience of third graders that can't read beyond like a first grade level.
We have to mansplain to them.
Exactly.
I got home from work yesterday, and I sat down at the kitchen table, and my mom was doing like paperwork or something like that. And I sat down, I took out my phone, I was just doing stuff, and then I saw her take off her glasses and then wring her nose, and then place her glasses down like that, and then like cover her eyes like with elbows on the table, like she looked like she was sad, and then she looked up at me and she said, "Patrick, what is Fortnite?" And I started laughing, and I asked why. And she works at a school, and apparently the kids will start dancing the Fortnite dances all the time. They do that at my job too. It's
What
like
the fuck?
it's amazing. Like she was like really confused by it. It's almost like she asked me this like about like what is twerking like a few years ago as well. She just wants to know what's going on. But yeah.
What the fuck? I've seen videos of people doing this on Twitter, but I've never seen
No, they do
people
like their
pulling this
legs
shit in
back
real
and
life.
forth thing, and yeah, they do the L on the forehead thing.
What the
Yeah.
fuck? God,
It's
that's-
really funny. Like much like a 10-year-olds just doing that.
I know that schools actually have like a huge issue with kids just like playing Fortnite on their phones or whatever.
Why is that an issue?
Because they're on their phones playing Fortnite instead of
They were
like
already on their
paying
fucking
attention.
phones.
That's true, I guess. But like even more so now, I guess. But I did see this one really nice story actually, where this one kid was having trouble in class and having like trouble at home, and so the teacher was like, "Okay, how can I relate to the youth and help this kid out of a bad situation?" So he played.
If you guys
Fortnite
want to
with
get a
him.
victory royale in this class,
I'm pretty sure I've seen some promposals along those lines saying,
oh yeah,
would you
be my
queue up
scar?
in duos with me and to get
be
this
your
victory
snark drink."
royale at prom?" But anyways, the teacher like played Fortnite with the kid. He did better in the class because he had a role model in his life, and yeah, thanks to Fortnite. So Fortnite probably saved someone's life if you think about it.
Isn't that kind of condoning like playing a violent, mature video game?
Fortnite is not violent or mature at all.
Do you shoot people in that game, Alex?
Yeah, but they're fucking cartoons.
Do you throw grenades?
You throw grenades that make
Are
people
you trying
dance.
to say that that's not violent? That is violent.
You throw grenades
I'm not
that
saying
make
it's
people
bad that it is. I'm
dance.
just saying that it is definitely with a factual thing. It is.
Yeah, but it's like it's cartoon
It's
violence.
still violence. That's it.
But not nearly even.
I'm not saying that violence in video games causes gun like attacks in real life. That's not what I'm saying.
Sounds like a lot like we're saying, actually.
I'm not a republicard or whatever the fuck people say now.
Do you think that kids playing Fortnite and seeing acts of violence in Fortnite is going to make kids go out, build a fort, shoot people that come by, and then do a stupid dance on their dead body?
No comment.
Pussy bitch. Anyways.
And then another person's like, "Senator, we need an answer." And then it's just like, I couldn't say for sure. There's a lot of just like, we just want a direct answer. Is
Yes or
Fortnite
no?
causing murder?
They'll call in the people who made Fortnite, and they're like, yes or no, does your game condone violence? It was like, well, you do shoot people in your game. Thank you for answering. I knew it. We got to shut this evil down.
No, wait.
The youth.
You're taking my statement out of context.
Patrick, you said you made a list of things you hate. What do you hate?
I hate people that call me Pat.
fuck, I do that all the time.
I hate it. I really dislike it.
Really?
People call me Bud, Pat, just like terms of endearment.
Those
my
are
name
all
is
things
Patrick.
I do.
I
Those
was
are
not
all
given any
things
other
I
names.
do.
You can call me my full name. You can call me Patrick. You can call me William. You can call me Charlton. Any of these combinations. None of my names are Pat.
Me and Yaman both call you Pat all the time.
I actually have investment in keeping you around, so I don't tend to get in a fiery rage about the things that you say and do. But people I work with, people who are younger than me calling me Pat, anybody who I know calling me Pat.
Yeah, someone younger than you, I feel like it's almost a respect thing.
It's like they're trying to dominate you. So it's like, what's up, Pat? Little baby Pat. It's like, shut up.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you.
Have you ever blown up at someone for that?
I don't blow up in anybody because I think that's childish and stupid, but I will comment on it. The thing I usually say, which is kind of aggressive, is like Patrick's fine. they'll say
That's
like
very passive aggressive. I like that.
It is, but it's. I mean, I'm telling you what I want you to say. They'll be like, "Oh, can you hand me that the remote, Pat?" And I'll be like, "Patrick's fine. Here you go." And that's like while I'm saying it, I'm doing the thing they want me to do. So I'm not gonna throw it at them, but like, yeah,
that's fair. I mean,
I really, 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 really don't like it though.
Why? What's your reasoning?
Because it's not my name.
Okay.
And it makes me sound like an 8-year-old.
Yeah. So you don't like nicknames, basically.
It's also
you
confusing because my mom's name is Pat.
Really?
Yeah.
Is her name like Patty or something?
No, her name is Pat, like Patricia.
Oh, okay. But she has a nickname. See, that's what I'm...
Like my dad calls her Pat, and her dad calls her Pat, and my aunts call her Pat.
Okay, I see.
And so in my house, if someone says Patty, that could be anybody. There could be 9 different people going like, who? What?
What? See, I don't like it when people... My full name is Alexander. But but imagine if...
I thought you were going to say your full name was Penis.
Not even... I hope you're enjoying yourself.
Oh, God. I'm so tired.
It's a real fucking knee slapper.
Like, my name's Pena, and it's short for Penis. Anyway, continue.
People calling me Alexander, it sounds like a really stupidly long, like,
Alexander's like
name.
A white 10-year-old with an iPad and one of those little like motorized toy cars that he can drive by himself in a McMansion. That's
exactly.
what I see.
Alexander is like a super
Alexander, you're not eating your quinoa.
Privileged name. Like, obviously it draws reference to Alexander the Great and whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that's exactly what the dad thought when he was just like, oh, let's name him something badass like Alexander. And the mom was like, that's not very...
It's not very what?
It's not very yee-yee. He has to be like, what's Elliot or something?
Elliot. That's like a... Well, I can't disconnect that name from Mr. Robot. But yeah,
you
Alex
know what I wanted
to
fucking murder when I was a kid? E.T. I wanted to hit that thing with a fucking hammer.
Oh, dude, if I was those kids in that movie, I would have killed him immediately.
Steven Spielberg sitting in a boardroom is like, let's make the protagonist for this movie a terrifying alien that the moment it sees another creature, it will scream in the most horrifying, blood-curdling noise you could ever hear in your life, and it extends its neck like a snake.
I don't hesitate to kill bugs at all. So
and that obviously translates to creatures of alien descent.
Well, I don't. If you saw E.T., and obviously the movie doesn't exist,
break its stupid thin neck.
That's true. I'd probably think the scream is it trying to attack me because most animals make a loud noise.
And it sends its neck
to
too, and it's got
you.
these little grabby hands, and it looks like a melted body because it's like its fat little body's melted over like the toes. It looks like its like feet are sticking out of something that's sitting on top of it, like a beanbag.
E.T. looks like if a tree could take a shit.
Well, and you see in the beginning of the movie, like the aliens are collecting plant life from. They're like not scavengers. They're like preserve people, like preserve people.
Like they make fruit preserves.
No, well,
like
maybe
it's a really nice like indie project,
like a mango chutney or something back in there. But like there's different plant life from different planets, and you can see that they're going to try to find like a pine tree or something to store in their ship and collect. And E.T. goes too far. I don't know why he's dicking around. He's an adult scientist, presumably, but he has the wisdom of a child sprinting through the woods. And then he gets caught by a bunch of people with mag lights who would beat the fuck out of him. Back when mag lights were like 97 pounds and you could barely lift one.
I can imagine like the police just like there's a police brutality incident, but it's not with like a real person.
If there was a police
E.T.
brutality with E.T., I wouldn't care. I'd be like, "That, yeah, good. I'm glad he's dead."
I was like, yeah,
I hope you made sure he was dead. I hope you shot him 3 times in the head.
I would just be like, E.T. probably deserved it. He shouldn't have run.
He shouldn't have screamed at the top of his lungs and terrified those poor officers.
He shouldn't have fucking lit up his glowy ass fingers. What are those?
Is that a weapon?
Is that a gun? Drop it! He's got a gun!
He's got a lighter.
What does his fingers do? They heal children?
They heal small cuts and nothing else.
That is kind of useless.
I'm kidding. They probably heal other stuff, but I think the only thing he heals in the movie is a broken heart. No, a little cut that Elliot gets after he's going into the garage to get supplies for E.T.'s like communication device. Literally he takes his stupid little finger and scrapes it along a bandsaw replacement saw, like on the tooth, like here, and then it's just like, oh no, it got cut. It's like, what did you think? What did you think he was gonna give you a high five? Stupid idiot, Elliot.
I think it's amazing that those kids were able to create a interstellar communication
device
out of the shit in their garage.
It was E.T. Remember when he like stayed home while Elliot went to school and like got drunk and ran around?
Well, still, E.T. was able to create that out of whatever loose ins and outs they had
it's
in
also
their
a kid's
garage.
movie.
Yeah, but it's unrealistic, Patrick, and it doesn't meet my expectations.
I honestly wasn't paying attention to that when I first saw it. I was mostly paying attention to the pee that was in my pants because I was like looking at a terrifying alien.
I went on the E.T. ride at Universal Studios.
Was it a horror show?
It was actually terrifying because you get onto that bike. You get onto the bike.
Oh,
that flies.
And he's in front of you.
Yeah, and
does he turn around like an owl? Or
it's like a bike in-station roller coaster thing. It's weird. Like, it just lifts you up and like shakes you a bunch in the middle, and there's a giant fucking screen in this thing, and like it's supposed to be like a weird simulation shit, and it's just E.T. screaming, and I'm screaming because I'm like 50 feet in the air, and I'm like terrified. Yeah, it's not fun.
And there's like the swell of the chorus from John Williams' orchestra. Yeah. It's just like, this isn't helping.
It's just like E.T. screaming, I'm screaming, John Williams like booming score coming in the background to say, "Isn't this magical?" And I was like, no, put me down. This is not where I want to be right now.
In your area over the next 24 hours, do you think E.T. caused a storm because we were making fun of his stupid?
I bet. I don't doubt that E.T. was probably one of the weakest members of his species, and in fact, that everyone's glowy fingers can probably do a lot more than just heal small cuts.
It's like those things. He could get a job at like Coachella when they shut the lights off and they do the little finger thing, like with the LEDs. He could do that. Can you imagine him like? That would be fucking awful.
I can imagine him every time, you're at a concert and there's a sea of lighters or whatever, although now it's like fucking phones. E.T. would just like put his finger up and like he'd accidentally be touching people, and the guy next to him who has like a tumor and he doesn't even know it all of a sudden feels like way better, and the person next to him who's in a wheelchair accidentally touches, and they just like all of a sudden stand up, and he's like, what the fuck?
It was weird because in the movie the enforcement people, the cops were like malevolent, but the scientists who found Elliot in a sickly state and E.T. in a sickly state were benevolent, and they were trying to like cure them. And they went into Elliot's room and they were just like, "Do you know what's going on? How can we help him?" It's like, and then one of the scientists was just sort of like, "We're losing him," and they wanted to revive him. They weren't gonna like cut him open and vivisect him, but. And they like Elliot's life force was somehow linked to E.T.'s, which is a horrible, awful thing that E.T. should never be allowed near anyone, because apparently he links his life force to people and then sucks their soul out.
I hate that anytime that happens in a movie or something where people's quote unquote life forces are connected.
Hellboy, the Golden Army, the twins, the elf twins.
Hancock, when Will Smith and Charlize Theron.
Dumb.
Because they were in love.
If that was how that worked, I would avoid that person. I don't care about how they're supposed to be infatuated with each other. It's like, no, I don't care. I'll just go be superpower over
any fucking sense. Yeah. Honestly, I would have to rewatch Hancock, but like, if you had all those powers and you are still somehow homeless. Well, one, I'm sure the U.S. government would like just give you a job to go fight their wars for them. Like that is the most likely scenario.
You remember when he graffitied the moon at the end?
Good. Wait, I actually don't remember. It's been a while.
It was the end of the movie. That movie came on FX every fucking day for like 3 years, and I saw it at the end of it. And Jerry, what's his name from Arrested Development, and Charlize Theron.
Oh, Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman. We're all walking on the boardwalk, and they were just sort of like happy family after all. And they were like, "Where do you think Hancock is now?" And then Jason Bateman looks up and he's like, "Oh, I guess he's closer than you think," which is a weird joke considering you're looking at the moon and he's not. He's not that close. And you can see there's an H burned into the fucking moon.
Shouldn't Jason Bateman be a lot more upset because like
he got cucked?
Yeah, basically. Didn't we
cucked.
ban that word from this podcast?
No, it's been a while.
Okay, that's fine. There are no rules.
I'm checking the padlock of it.
All right, go for it.
But if you ruin it again,
you know that weird string of mid 2000s of Will Smith movies like I Am Legend.
I love that movie.
Hancock. Stop. Will Smith was like on a roll there, and then he did After Earth with his son.
I liked
and M. Night
the
Shyamalan,
sets
and he killed
and
his
the
career.
production of that movie.
Sure.
Like the little like suit that Jaden Smith wears with those little like liquid oxygen capsules is like that's good. Some prop maker was really good in that.
Yeah.
I take the good out of the bad, Alex.
It's so easy to make things look good if you
Not
throw
really.
enough money out of it. Yeah.
No, it's not.
100%. There's a lot of movies and this happens with video games especially where it just looks amazing. The production quality is through the roof.
Even
obviously,
so,
you can
why
tell.
is it bad to point that out?
No, what do you mean? It's not bad. Those things aren't bad. Those are things you can
Wasn't
point out
that
that
a
are good.
Shyamalan movie?
It was a Shyamalan movie.
What
And it
a
was
dumb,
bad.
stupid idiot.
My point being that things can look amazing, but the content in those things is absolute garbage.
Like me.
Like After Earth, Destiny, I think is a prime example of something that is super pretty and there's like lots of great production, and the game is just not there.
How did they
is,
spend
like,
so
not
many
there.
years in that game and then just have it be such garbage?
Exactly. They did the same thing again with Destiny 2. It was just like
I did something
Here's
for
this
200
game.
hours, I have to tell you.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. They just get you into like a loop, like an addicting loop, and then at a certain point you're like, why am I doing
It's
this?
fun. It's a fun game.
I would say I have to admit that the gunplay in Destiny is really good. We always end up talking about Destiny for some reason.
Because it's exactly what you think. Like, I mean, nobody knows what they want in terms of UI. They have an idea of like, oh, I want to do this if when I pull the right trigger. But like, that made so much sense. Like, hold this button to do this, and everything just worked in the flow of like fighting and made you feel like a badass. And I liked it a lot. Also, the character customizations, all of the like, I played as a hunter almost 100% of the time. You'd have a cape over your helmet, and you have a vest with armor on your chest, and there's a knife slotted here, and there's a knife over here. You just look like a badass from Star Wars. It just made you feel cool.
Destiny 2 is on sale right now. I'm like really considering getting it.
Literally, I'm on that same thing. I talked about this before we started recording. Like, I'm almost back into the swing of starting Destiny again. Like, I'm thinking about it because there's new DLC, but I don't know.
I think I should just... So here's the thing. I think if I got Destiny 2 this time around, I'd probably be happier with it because then we could play it together, and Destiny's like better with friends, obviously. But at the same time, there's just so many other better games out there I could get. Like Assassin's Creed Origins right now is $30, and
You should definitely get that. It's worth
I think
every
I
penny.
know. Like I've been thinking about it, but I also spent so much money on like other games recently. Well, I got Master Chief Collection as a present, so I've been doing that because I've never played the old Halo games.
Where'd you start?
Halo 1.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah. I never played the original Halo.
It bothers me that you didn't get it on Xbox. I would play fucking hours of that with you.
I did get it on an Xbox.
What?
It's only available on Xbox.
Can we play that like on co-op Legendary?
Sure.
Oh, thank God. That was literally like 3 years of my life. I never met or heard this guy's voice, but I met him on Halo 5 online, and that game sucked wiener.
Yeah, Halo 5
And
was
then
rough.
he sent, I think, everybody in the group in the game a message just like, does anybody want to play Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4 all the way through on Legendary? I've got the Master Chief Collection. And I was like, is this God talking to me? And then I said yes.
Huh?
And from that moment forward, we never exchanged another word. but we played through every single game on Legendary and beat the whole thing. It was amazing. It was like almost 100% of the time I would get on and I would start Destiny, and then he'd send me an invite for the Master Chief Collection, and I'd like accept it and get on with him. It was so much of my time.
And you never spoke.
Never spoke, not a word. Like,
those games
it was
each
all
are,
messages.
Those games are like 12 hours
They're
each.
It was amazing.
And
it
you
was like,
never spoke to this guy.
It was like it wasn't like in Red vs. Blue where they do the head bobbing. He would go up to like, because there's certain games like in Halo 4, for example, like the first thing you do is like you walk out after beating the little first piece inside the spaceship that you were on at the end of Halo 3. You come out and there's a little battle rifle or a DMR floating in space, and he walked up to it and he stood, so he was on one side of it, and then he would like teabag, so I would get it. Like it was like a yes for us. And then if he wanted something, and I picked up a rocket launcher, and he would walk up to me in front of me and shake his head, and I would just give it to him because it was like, all right, I got the last thing, and then I'll get the next thing. It was great. It was one of the best things. I don't remember what his gamer tag. It was like a bunch of X's in between M's, like Eminem and Eminem with X's in it. But yeah, that game was great.
Watch it ended up being some 13-year-old boy who ended up being like
literally
super
so many
racist.
games me and Yaman will play, and then he'll like invite the person to the party because he just wants to see who they are because we've been losing so bad, and then he'll be like, you guys are doing really well.
That happens to me in Rainbow all the fucking time. People just invite me to their parties, and the first time I actually joined, because I was like, let's see how this goes, and immediately there was 4 like middle school aged boys, and one of them is like the fucking ringleader because his voice is slightly deeper and he just shits on all of them.
The alpha male.
Exactly. Like I could tell their dynamic immediately. There was one kid that easily could have been 9, and then the kid that was the oldest, I bet was only 13, but like somehow his stones dropped before everyone else.
There are so many of those kids who they don't fit in with anyone in their age group, so they backtrack to hanging out with younger children. It's weird, right? You ever see that? Like, it's online a lot. It's in schools. Like, just like a kid who's in like 9th grade hangs out with 7th graders because he knows he can impress them really easily and basically conquer them in everything because he's smarter.
The worst version of that is when older guys go after like younger girls. This happens. Well, that happens obviously like in the real world, but you could see that in school in a similar way where a girl could be like, oh my god, I'm dating like a 9th grader. He's so smart and mature, and he says I'm mature for my age, so it's okay. And she's like in the 6th grade. I'm like, that's fucked up. That's like disgusting. That is weird as shit.
No matter the gender of the relationship, it's just weird to date naive people.
Yeah.
Like who don't know better.
Like, it's weird because like age gaps don't. Like, the age gap between a 6th grader and a 9th grader would be more acceptable if they were both
if you're comparing
in their
it to
40s
like
or something.
A 13-year-old and a 20-year-old, like that kind of like difference matters because one person is now legally an adult. But like,
if one person's like 53 and the other person's 60, like I wouldn't bat an eye.
Looking at them both individually, you're like, ew. But if you're comparing the two, you're like, this one's worse. Like,
yeah. I think it's just because you're at such a like critical point of like development.
It's
like,
you're stupid. You're stupid for.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm still stupid now. Like I'm 20 and I still feel stupid.
100%.
Because I look back a day earlier, it's just like, why did I say that? It was so weird.
Yeah, I just turned 21, and I can look back into a year like my 20-year-old self was like, I did some dumb shit that I probably shouldn't have done. Twitter's the worst because it just keeps like a dialogue of all of your fucking like thoughts.
I'm so glad
ideas.
I didn't do that. Well, I did Vine, and that was pretty cringy.
Your Vines were good though. I like
they were not.
A lot of those are still good. But like I can see my tweets from even like a year ago, and I'm like, why did I feel the need to like tweet that? Like that's dumb as fuck. Like that was not necessary.
I'm not saying that I'm hilarious, but I'm glad that I got exposed to so many sources of people, and that sort of, while I wasn't in real life, I didn't have many miles in my soul. I knew cool people, and I just sort of just sucked in content out of everywhere. So I had like Rooster Teeth. I just basically like role models out of everybody, like people forming the way I think and like giving me ideas for how to be quick-witted and like try to be funny, stuff like that. So I could experiment with that in the real world, and it would fail miserably, and then I would come back and be like, all right, what am I doing wrong? And that sort of formed me. I didn't have anybody in real life that I looked up to and made me funny.
I never had a person I explicitly looked up to. Like I didn't
didn't
have like
think of it like in my head, this is the person I look up to. It was just like subconsciously I was thinking of people I was drawing stuff from.
Yeah. I think, and especially now, I think people find someone to follow online most likely, which is why I think like it's really important for like good role models. People always shit on celebrities if they do something irresponsible because they're like, people look up to you, you're a role model, and they're like, I'm not responsible for any of that shit. And I'm like, true, but also because like people shouldn't put that role on you if you don't want it. But also like
you should
kind
be
of an
self-aware
undeniable.
and know what kind of position you're in.
Yeah, exactly. It's like an
If you're
undeniable
standing on
fact.
like an ivory tower and you're just like, no one looks up to me. What are you talking about, you fucking idiot? All the way down there. Can you hear me from up?
Like you have so much influence, even if you don't want to realize it. Like if you amass any sort of following, you will have a degree of influence. Like I'm sure I have a degree of influence over like my small circle of friends, right? Like even though it's like probably 0.001, like that's still something. So if you just magnify that or multiply that enough times, like there are people out there that can obviously make like a product or thing go viral, or even push people to do crazy shit like buy vegan detox juice or whatever the fuck. You see that shit on Instagram all the time. Just like weight loss, it's like pills or like diet shit. Although that doesn't mean we wouldn't like to be sponsored by you. So if you want to hit us up, please do. We're willing to sell out from our ivory tower.
Did you see that there was a controversy? This isn't so much like a niche thing, so some people will be able to understand the conversation. But Rooster Teeth, as a network, they picked up a sponsor that was for men or something like that. It was like Men's Plus or something like that, some men's product name. But they sold not performance enhancers, but like testosterone supplements for men who had like deficiencies and stuff. And it was a whole controversy. And I didn't give a fuck because I'm pretty desensitized to most stuff. But there was a lot of people who were like, you're sending a sensitive issue out and you're peddling drugs and stuff like that. Do you care about that kind of shit? Like it was like testosterone stuff for like 45-year-olds or people who have those kinds of deficiencies.
Yeah, like part of me is like, I care about this brand, and if they sponsor things that I think are total bullshit, that makes me sad that they would endorse that. But also I understand the need to like pay the bills and like make money and stuff, so I don't care.
You can be objective about it.
Yeah, I'm like, I know that you know that this is bullshit, and I know that you're just promoting this, that
you can see that the fake enthusiasm. You're like aware enough. But there are people who are just like, Michael Jones, you like supplements that change your, whatever, body chemistry? You're fucking vicious or something like that.
Yeah, unless it's something that actually actively like poisons you or like is promoting like
if it's a scam, Nazis. Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, if it's also like I don't know, most of those supplements could like be regarded as a scam, honestly, but
there was also part of it was men who experience balding can take this certain foam or something. It was like just like a bunch of stuff for men who have those kinds of issues, and I guess it just rubbed some people the wrong way because it sort of felt like something that Alex Jones would have on his show, like, oh, this is all natural bull testosterone that you put in your body, and I take that all the time, and here's a before and after where I look identical and possibly just slightly more sweaty in one of the pictures.
His before and afters are amazing. It's just his body, but it's like redder
like
for some reason.
Like a 0.5 difference in the angle of the picture that was taken. It's just like, wow, that's a big difference, Alex.
God, I fucking love Alex Jones supplements. Like, if he wasn't a huge flaming racist, I'd be fine if he wanted to promote his supplements on this show.
Racism is like, just a little bit of it. Yeah, so Sandy Hook was it was fake. It was totally fabricated. It was they had crisis actors, and I was watching him look at that, and I was like, he doesn't believe that. I'm looking at his face, and I know that he doesn't believe that. He's crazy, to a point, but like I think he's just aggressive and weird, and these are things that he's been told to say because he knows there's a shock factor to it, and that maybe there is an audience for it, but he also knows that he'll get on John Oliver or something like that as a segment about how crazy he is, and that gets him stuff. People who are looking to get clips from his show to make fun of it will have to go to the source if they want an HD version and they'll have to watch his show, and he'll get ratings from that. Like, that's it. That's his gig. And it's the same with a person who's like, I hate movies or whatever. Like, he just wants people to show up. Like, it doesn't matter if he actually believes this stuff. People are watching it because it's crazy.
Yeah.
We're talking about it literally right now.
God damn it. I think it's interesting because you mentioned that you don't know if Alex Jones actually believes it or not. I think I could go either way, but
this doesn't mean that he isn't awful. I'm just saying that he might be awful.
Oh no, he's still awful.
Submissive way.
But I don't know if he's being awful because he thinks it'll make him money or because he genuinely believes those things.
Well, he makes quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
There's a Rolex like every show. He was
going through like divorce proceedings. His like wife divorced him, was like trying to take the kids away for obvious reasons because you were married to fucking Alex Jones, and his lawyer or something gave some like defense statement in court saying that my client is not actually like crazy and does not actually believe in conspiracy theories. He puts on a character for his show in order to sell supplements and whatever and all this stuff. He's like, it's all part of the brand basically. Like, he's just an actor doing this for entertainment purposes. So
how did he reconcile that back on his show though? Did he say it was like, oh, it was all an act to get out of court?
I'm sure that's what he said if he said something, but
can you say that?
I really don't fucking know.
I know that there was somebody that said to me when I was younger that if you get off of charge for murder and you stand up in the courtroom right after they say you're not guilty and say, I actually did it, they can't do anything.
Yeah, well, this isn't like a criminal thing.
I know it's not a criminal.
Like,
I mean, it is. It is. It's like the I'm not criminal, but like there's a court proceeding, like and. The defense, you could pretty much contradict the defense. That's like what I'm saying. Like, if the person says like, "Oh, my defense is that he uses flowery language, he's not actually crazy," and then they give you custody for your children, then you don't have to pay any, alimony or whatever. And then you stand up. Alex Jones stands up, and on his show, he says, "Oh, I just said all that because I want to own the libs or whatever. I want to get out of that." Does he get punished for that? I don't know how that works. Like, oh, you liar, get back here.
I don't think so, because you could probably just fall back on the same argument and be like, no, he was just saying that for the show, for entertainment purposes or whatever. Who the fuck knows? You can literally just say any bullshit and speak.
Your Honor, he was owning the libs.
Your Honor, who's clearly doing it to own the libs. I don't even think he won that. He got divorced, and I don't think he has custody over his kids right now. So, sucks for him, I guess.
Doesn't imagine that, just being the son of Alex Jones.
God.
He is a great voice actor, though, I have to say. There was this SFM. You know what an SFM is, right?
No.
SFM animation is like Source Filmmaker. It's like people manipulate like Team Fortress characters and stuff like that. Someone did one where they just did clips of his show, and it was really good. Like, it was funny as shit. And they had different backdrops. Like, I was like, so they're putting chemicals in water that makes the friggin' frogs gay. He was looking at like a sink, and then he was just like, yeah, so tap water, it's a gay bomb, baby. And he was like putting a grenade in a sink. It was just very funny. And I was like, that's a great voice. Like, what a waste. What a waste of such a stupid person.
He does have a good voice. He could probably do... That's the thing. There's so many people with so much
potential. He could be
potential.
a character in Far Cry. He would be a great character in Far Cry.
Oh my god. I'd love to see Far Cry 6 just be like... Alex Jones is a crazy like
just become more and more topical until the point that you're just making like impressions of Donald Trump show up.
Yeah, exactly. You're just fighting the president in like an American hellscape. But the thing that Alex Jones is actually terrible, and in the recent news that Anthony Bourdain died, he fucking posted a video. He did some segment on his show saying the reason Anthony Bourdain, he didn't actually kill himself. He was killed by the deep state because he was about to come out. Anthony Bourdain was about to come out in support of Donald Trump, and so the far left deep state or whatever killed Anthony Bourdain. Does that really the story you? He's running with. It bothers me because he did it literally hours after Anthony Bourdain.
Does that surprise you?
Honestly, a little bit. Like the brazenness of it.
He's also said that a bunch of kids didn't actually die and that their parents and other family members were acting. He has said so much worse.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but
you're literally talking about a mad, crazy person who maybe they're not actually crazy, but they are ostensibly, according to everything that we see about them, crazy. It's like saying Kanye said something weird? No, impossible.
I think it's crazy how quickly he came up with that.
I don't think it's crazy at all.
That was fucking... It just made me really fucking mad, because like...
I don't
Bourdain
like
like
the
coolest
idea that
he's
he's allowed to say Anthony Bourdain's name, though. That does bother me.
Yeah, I want to like slap the shit out of him and like, get that name out of your fucking mouth, you disgusting piece of shit.
I know that it's news and you have to cover it, but for some reason, I've watched every single episode of every show Anthony Bourdain has ever been on. No Reservations, Lost and Confused or whatever. And, like, I don't pretend to know who he is, but for some reason, he has always seemed like the person who would be like, after I die, you can burn me and throw me off a bridge. Like, I don't give a shit. That kind of thing. And then to see everyone covering it and, like, talking about how wonderful he was and, how he, like, was the nicest person in the world. It's like, he was aggressive and funny and weird and callous and, you know, he was so, like, interesting. Like, that was what made him fun. And you're making him sound like a daisy. And I like the people who are very honest. Like, they would get on the interviews and just, like, he was kind of an asshole, and that's why I liked him a lot. Like, and they would talk about it on CNN, and, oh, man, I miss him so much. Like, he's one of the few people that I really, really enjoyed seeing no matter what he was doing.
Yeah. Like, when I saw that news Friday morning, that actually hit me. Like, I'm rarely ever affected by celebrity deaths, but this one actually, like, my heart, like, sank a little bit. Like, that was really rough. He was the most, like, unpretentious person, like this guy that would go around the world like eating either in like the fanciest restaurants in the world or like in a little hut in some country somewhere. And he also did a segment on Waffle House, and he talked about it with such like colorful, flowerful language, like saying like it's just like gracious place to go like when you're like drunk and stuff, and it's just like amazing. So I don't know, just that like the passion he had for food in all sorts of like different ways, you know, like didn't have to be a 5-star restaurant, you know, you could go to Waffle House and just like have the fucking time of his life and like appreciate like how, you know, amazing this was for what it was. You know, he was just such an interesting and amazing guy. And like
something that he would say was he would always make fun of fast food and the King, the Clown, and the Colonel, which is McDonald's, Burger King, and KFC. And he said that one of his favorite things was to go get mac and cheese from KFC because it was just so delicious to him. And it was like his guilty pleasure of everything. So he would go into a KFC and like with his hood up and like, yeah, can I get some mac and cheese? And the person would be like, what? And then, can I get some mac and cheese? And then somebody would be like, Anthony Bourdain. And then he'd be like, shit. And then he's going to leave.
Runs out. Damn, not again.
We'll have to drive 3 miles to get a different KFC mac and cheese.
Just go through the drive-thru.
Yeah, he would always make the interviews he did about the person he was interviewing, rather than people who would go to like some hut somewhere off in the distance and at the end of the Amazon River, and then make it all about them and their stupid collared T-shirt and everything. It was just like, I'm here and I want to listen to what he has to say. I'm not that interesting. Let's hear from the guy who made the food.
Yeah, he would never be like, here I am in so-and-so Africa, and I'm about to eat this crazy food that you
Can you believe they eat fucking pigs here?
But my favorite thing he's ever done, and I guess photo online, I tweeted about this, but like when he ate at a little just like spot in Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam, just eating Vietnamese street food with Obama, that was like incredible.
Did you see that they sealed the entire table and chairs in glass and now have it on display?
I would too. I would do that.
That's dope. With everything that all the fixings that they had on the table are still there.
Yeah.
Like it's wow.
I would definitely do that. I'd be like, no one else is ever fucking allowed to.
It's still got his fingerprints on it. Like just like to know that he was there. That's interesting. It's amazing because, I mean, this is gonna sound awful, but he obviously. I mean, I don't pretend to know what he was going through, but like, if I died, I would like to have lived at 10th of as much as he had. Because he's probably done more than 99% of the population will ever do. Yeah. And just to have a taste of that would be amazing. Not a food pun, but possibly a food pun.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you know, people always like fantasize about like traveling the world and like doing all that eat, pray, love shit. But he just like did it. And he like delivered that to us and did it in like a respectful way where it was like, hey, you know, there's like a bunch of other shows that show off exotic locations and foods, but I'm gonna do it in an actual like proper way and show
and
like,
sarcastic and
like,
just dry as shit and just talk about the things that he liked and like
he was dry and like callous and stuff, and but
he was also in the moment. Like he would take those jokes. I hype that up because that's like humor that I love, and that was 100% of what the humor he made was. And then he would have a cut to like a different shot, and he just eloquently like break down what's going on in a country and how their food is like reflective of history, their legends, and all this stuff. Like, fucking A, like that was different. It was such a ride every single episode of his show.
Yeah. And he wasn't an asshole, really. He was like you said that he was like an asshole, but he actually like wasn't.
No, I'm not saying that he
very,
was a cunt or anything like
no,
that. He
no,
was
no.
just like hey, you know.
He wasn't like a rude person. Like I've
Not rude,
just seen
no.
so many stories where he's just like genuinely nice, like random people all the time. He's like, hey, how you doing? Like he's very good at just cutting through the bullshit. And
I hope you don't think
this
that
is
I meant he was an actual asshole.
No, but like I don't know, whatever you said earlier. But he's good at the thing you talk about a lot, where you're just like, can we skip past all the bullshit where we fake small talk to like get to know each other? He's just like,
talk to them.
Hey,
like he's
how are
known them
you?
For 17 years, yeah.
He's like, what do you like? Will you like share this table with me? Let's break some fucking bread. And like, you know,
It's
like
that was what he talked about, wasn't it? Like how the most important thing is to eat with people, because it breaks through the barrier of like everything. It's like we all have to eat. Why don't we just sit down at this table and then have banter back and forth and learn about each other and eat while we do it? It's very, very simple, man.
Like he shared
so
the table
sad.
with
It's so sad to know that kind of
sorts.
person was like tortured in their head.
Yeah,
I don't know how did they determine? I'm not. Maybe it's like, not to use this word twice, but callous to ask. But how did he end up doing it?
Like his suicide?
Yeah.
Oh, he hung himself.
Vicious.
Yeah. His friends and like fellow producer found him. It was his friend who, I don't know if he wrote his book with. I don't remember their relationship exactly, but they had been working together for a very long time. And his friend found him in his hotel room, which is like really, really sad.
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah. But I just loved how he could sit down with all sorts of crazy people, like people part of like Hezbollah, Israelis, Palestinians, the president of the United States, Ted Nugent, like anyone. And I remember
treated him like I almost said sacks of meat, but what I mean really is equally. Like we're all just sort of here, so why don't we just let's skip all this fanfare and get down to business and eat some food.
Yeah, he would always be like, if you are nice and respectful at the table, I will like sit down and share a meal with you, and we can like talk things out and whatever. And I was like, that's like pretty incredible, and I think like more people need to be willing to do that, even when we're all too busy like dunking on each other and screaming at each other online. But yeah, Anthony Bourdain will be missed. I'm gonna watch Parts Unknown.
Is a treasure trove
So
of
good.
funny, interesting pictures and stuff.
Like it was just him constantly just like in like cool places, and just his Instagram stories were also fun. It was just like him hanging out at like different spots and him just taking a video of something that's like not moving for 10 seconds. Like he'd take a fucking video of like a street cat and he'd just like, look at this cat. And just you see the just cat like running around on the street.
Or a picture of a
like,
bottle of wine and not tagging anybody, but it just says thanks, Jim. It was like, who's Jim?
Yeah, exactly. Like there's so much context left out. Or like he'll like be in a green room somewhere and he's like, I'm in Boulder, Colorado now. God.
Not good. It's not like come meet up with me. It's just like I'm somewhere in the States.
Yeah.
Come find me if you can.
Like
he seemed like so well traveled. Like maybe he
literally, yeah.
I don't know. Probably just a fantasy in my head, but he seems like one of those people who has some wisdom because he's done so much. Like one of the few people I would actually have an interest in talking to, based on just consuming the media that they produce.
100%. I would love to like just pick his brain and like get his inner philosophy and like inner workings and like understand that, because like I think that's just one, it's so interesting, and two, also it's like the way I think I would want to live, you know? Like there's like a lot to learn there, you know? Just like by seeing that much shit and going through that much shit, like he must have had like wisdom beyond his years, you know? Like he was already like in his 60s. There's a lot of like dumbass fucking people who don't have much experience at all in their 60s, but this dude like fucking lived 100 lifetimes basically.
I saw this on Reddit as a picture. I don't remember what I think it was the subreddit, just get over it, or it's just stop being sad, or something like that. It was like the people who basically say depression isn't real, just shake it off. And there was a bunch of screenshots of this guy who tweeted about like, why is everyone killing themselves recently? And then a bunch of tweets about like, oh, depression is just a mental state. And it's just like, you've described it. Congratulations. It's like, what does that mean? That doesn't help anybody. You're being an absolute cunt. You have completely trampled over this person who is a billion times more interesting than you will ever be, and will contribute more than you could possibly imagine to just the human, like, identity, just what we are. And it's just so stupid to imagine you, like, taking out your stupid phone with one hand on your stupid little dumb thumb with hair on it and a mole, and just typing out those stupid dumb letters and having that sent off, and like, yeah, okay, I'm okay with that. Like, you thought about that and you did it. About this person that is so well liked by everyone.
There were so many dumb fucking takes about suicide and how
it's selfish,
it's increasing, whatever. And this one fucking guy who's like super religious and like conservative was like, you want to know why suicides are going up in this country? It's because we've left God, like all this other shit, blah blah blah. And I was like, you are just the fucking worst person ever. Like,
I think, what was that, like, you don't have the right to be an idiot or something like that, some person said?
Yeah, I don't know, but that guy was being a fucking idiot.
It's one of those times where Anthony Bourdain would have a perfect thing to say to this person, and it's too bad that he's not here to say it.
Exactly.
But like, he honestly wouldn't give a shit. He would be like, oh, that's nice. I'm going to be eating some garlic bread and drinking wine with my friends in Paris right now.
Exactly.
In a dingy, poorly lit bar. Or like the episode where he went to, I believe it was Japan, in Hong Kong, or I don't remember. I'm going to completely sound like a huge racist now, but he visited this person who like is an expert in hentai and like porn and stuff, because it's like this culture over there of like, just sort of not having everything out in the open, and the underlayer is just festering like lust and like sexual desire, and all this stuff is compacted into like online stuff and like manga, and like everything just like tentacles ripping someone open and then raping them. It's just like all this vicious, awful stuff. But he covered it. Like, no one else would do that but him. But he was just like, oh, let me go see what he's doing on over there in this horrible, awful, dingy, dark place, and looking at these things and laughing. And I was like, that's so interesting the way he drew this tentacle. I was just like, that's funny as shit. And it was great. It was so interesting. I was locked onto my TV watching that with my dad.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that was one of the few things that I bonded with my dad over, was watching Anthony Bourdain. And I was sitting in my room and literally looking at the headline, and he walked out of his, and he had his glasses on, like, down to the bridge of his nose, and he was like, Bourdain's dead. And I was just like, yeah. It was weird. I don't really talk to my dad that much, but it was just like this back and forth about all the things that made him special. It was unique.
Yeah. Like, that was the first time you, like, spoke to your dad in, like, weeks.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. God, that Friday was, like, rough as fuck. But
what else was going on?
Yeah. Well, no, just because he died, and as soon as I got into work, I obviously work in news, so that's, like, what we were talking about all day. And that was a bummer. That was also my birthday, so it was not a fun way to start it off. But,
happy birthday.
Yeah. Thank you. But, yeah, I miss him a lot, and just gives me an excuse to rewatch Parts Unknown, because that is a great fucking show.
Every single one of the series that he's been a part of.
Yeah.
No reservations, especially.
It's one of those perfect shows that you don't need to invest a lot in. You just jump in, and
it's
like,
so
you can
visually stimulating. Everything that's going on.
You can, like, you don't have to get invested in any story. You don't have to watch like 5 episodes to like break into it. You can just like put it on, kind of relax to it, zone out a little if you want to, but also just like be captivated by like something really, really interesting.
And I don't mean to make this sound like don't appreciate the spectacle of every person's investment in the show, but like you don't have to watch it to enjoy it. And there are a few shows where like if it's stand up or something, you're not going to put that up on the background because it's kind of a waste of the person's jokes, because you really have to pay attention to the build up and everything. But with that, you just let's glance over and see what Anthony Bourdain's doing while we're playing cards. We're not really paying attention. But every time we look up, he'll have some anecdote or something about, like, one time I got a gun held to my head in Chicago and I got robbed. And then it's just like, we laugh about that and we're back to the cards. And then we glance over again and he's eating some like fish sandwich that's like 2 dead fish and like a squid in between. And he's like, this looks fucking gross. And then he takes a bite out. He's like, that was delicious. He's like, what the fuck?
God, yeah, like he's just the fucking coolest dude. I remember watching one episode where like he went to Colombia and like went out into like the middle of the fucking jungle that was like controlled by like
so much.
FARC rebels and stuff, and he was like in this like town that had like kind of been abandoned. It was basically just being run by this like communist rebels, and he was just there like hanging out, and he's like, hey, how's it going? Like, oh, you guys don't have like any modern thing from like the past 30 years, but like you have good beer and like good food, so like let's hang out. Just like, I was like, that's fucking like you traveled like 3 hours here through the jungle by jeep, and you are incredibly isolated and potentially in danger, but you're just like chilling the fuck out and like
because he wanted to go see it. That was it, and he thought it would be interesting to film. And he thought that the whole idea of him, like his shows, was just like there are a ton of places that no one ever goes to, or maybe they go to and they don't really see the forest for the trees or whatever the expression is. Like they're just caught in the amazement of everything, and they don't select this one really juicy gem that there is in there. And he goes and finds it and puts a camera right on top of it and like films the entire experience. It's just it's if you never get the chance, if you're like, you know, I'm not saying that it's an excuse not to travel, but like if you're in a situation where you can't really go everywhere, that's a great option. Just like watching what's going on there to decide if you want to go there as well. Like, oh, he's going to travel to the places where I am thinking about. And there was like him talking about like the film production side of it. I can't remember what he was doing. I mean, where he was, but he was fishing, and the whole idea was he was supposed to catch one of the squids, and they could never find any on the days that they were fishing. So they were like, we're dropping dead squids, and I'm supposed to be filmed picking one up. But I've had a second cameraman start filming me to explain what's going on, and now this cameraman is getting mad because he's supposed to film me catching the fish for the first time while it's alive. And I was just like, that's really funny. He doesn't care about the production. He's just sort of like, this is fake. Let's be real about this.
Exactly. And he never went for like any of the like tourist trap shit. Like when he went to Vietnam, he didn't go for like pho or like some like fancy restaurant that would appeal to like a more like Western palate. Mm-hmm. He just went to a little shack, had I forgot what the name of the dish was, but it reminded me a lot of like some mix on like vermicelli bowl, something with rice noodles, like a fish broth, and like fried pork basically or something. It looked fucking delicious and amazing. But he basically just had like really genuine street food with like a bunch of like actual Vietnamese people that just go there as a part of their everyday lives. You know, like he just does the realest shit. Mm-hmm. And he's never like, we are here in South America and we're going to go to the Four Seasons dinner hotel extravaganza where we'll eat the finest cuisine. He's like, no, we're going out into the middle of the fucking jungle and we're going to eat in this shack here and we're going to meet this 90-year-old grandmother who's been making the same dish for 50 years and it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It does the shit I love.
And not patronize the shit out of the people that you're talking to like they're ants or something.
Exactly.
Like they can't understand like what you're saying. Not that, I mean, maybe if you speak a different language, but talking to them like a child. Like, yeah.
He would always just like take on the role of the learner. He'd be like,
absolutely.
He'd be like, humble me with like your knowledge, like just like all this stuff and all of your traditions and cultures. Just like, thank you so much for even like sharing this with me. I'm so curious to learn about like why your food is the way it is and like what your process is and everything. Like, God, fucking love that man. Jesus.
Yeah.
May his soul rest in peace. Genuinely, if there is even a construct as a soul.
If there's a few people who might deserve that kind of thing, and he's probably one of them. I mean, I don't claim to know everything that he's done. Maybe he was a horrible person under wraps. I'm sure he wasn't, but I feel like he would deserve that kind of stuff.
He's very open about his like
but his past is riddled with struggles of the self. Unless like I killed someone and I'm dealing with it now. It's true. Yeah, like addiction and going through like job after job and everything like that.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Do you want to go over some mail stuff now?
How long has it been?
It's been like an hour.
Fuck.
Sure. I feel like we might as well. All right.
Oh wait, no. Someone was talking about someone on Twitter. I tweeted about how I talk in my sleep. I don't know if you saw that, and I don't know if you've ever talked in your sleep before. And now it's going to take me about 15 minutes to get to this thing because I don't think about things beforehand. scrolling. I'm scrolling.
The thing
there
is,
we go.
I never thought I talked in my sleep until
You started sleeping next to someone.
Yeah, and they were like, "You talk a lot in your sleep." And I was like, "Really? What the fuck?"
This happened with my roommates in New York a lot because I never sleep next to anyone. I might do stuff with someone in a bed, but I'm leaving afterwards or they're leaving.
Yeah.
Like I can't sleep next to people. It bothers me. But recently I was at some place and I fell asleep there, and they noticed that I was talking, and apparently I said, "It's not even real, but that's such a good rock. I know it's not real though. It's a really good though. I'm glad we found it. We should cook it so it stays awake." And another couple that I decided to share. There's a few that I'm not going to share because they're in a piece of paper that's filled with a bunch of kind of weird stuff. But the ones I decided to share was, over this year I've said, "No, it was a tiger because it only had one head." Or another one was, "Am I allowed to fuck here? I don't want to be rude, but I want to fuck here with them." And then another one was, "Let's keep smiling for a while. Give me my nails back." You've never talked in your sleep before.
I have talked in my sleep before. Even as a kid, my parents would always be like, "You talk in your sleep a lot." And I'm like, "Really? What the fuck do I talk about?" And they're like, "I don't know, something about Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon." We didn't really get what you were saying. And whenever I have Kalina sleep over, she says that I talk in my sleep. But it's always just about like random shit that like barely makes sense to me.
It's about your dreams usually. It's like you're talking in your dream and it just leaks out.
Sometimes it'll like be tangentially related to something I was thinking about the night before. Like if I'd like been playing some video game or like fucking watching some TV show, it'll probably be like related to that, but my mind will like warp it or whatever. Like let's say I was playing Rainbow Six all night with you guys, and I was like getting really into like the details of like all the different operators and
windows,
stuff.
You gotta barricade.
Yeah, and it'd be like, but then my mind would turn it into something weird like, "Castle, pass the ketchup. Ash, why the fuck didn't you get the extra nuggets I asked for, you bitch?" Or like some like weird like scenario like that does not make any sense, and it's just like I lift one construct from this thing and drop it into another scenario that I'm dreaming about for some reason. It doesn't make any sense.
After I woke up the person and then tweeted this, I decided to see if there was anybody else, like other interesting things. So there was a subreddit. It was actually on Reddit that day. Was Ask Reddit was like, "What is the stuff that you talk about in your sleep?" And a bunch of them were like, "I don't believe that people say genuinely funny things that would be funny even if you weren't talking in your sleep. I think that's way too well constructed, and I don't believe them." Like the things that I say in my sleep you heard them. They were just sort of like weird, strung together half like sentences.
Exactly, sleep talk.
But people were telling jokes and shit, and like, "Oh, Dick Cheney's a monster for shooting someone." It's just like that's not really.
No, you wouldn't like think that.
You didn't say that.
Yeah.
You would say like, "Dick Cheney, I need to talk to Dick Cheney," or something like that. Like it's just, it doesn't have any real funniness to it. It's just like weird that you said that in your sleep.
Yeah.
The person who prompted me to talk about this was Tori at Tori Rose Blue. Tori Rose Blue on Twitter. Thank you for telling me to talk about this. It's a good talk. It's a good talk. But another thing I said recently was about my Twitter. I don't remember exactly, but the person told me it was just like talking about how I need to delete all my drafts. And I was just like, why would I do that? And I wrote down that I should talk about them because some of them are really weird. And when I wake up in the middle of the night or just am tired of shit thinking about stuff, I will put something in my draft that's not funny at all, but I will save it. And I've put a few in that I think are very weird. Beware that these are very weird, and I don't remember putting most of these in here. Like this one, I have no idea. Police officers in the UK wear those large hats to conceal small Ziploc bags of corgi hair that they are required to rest on their heads at all times. Do not be fooled. The royals have an agenda. And I thought that was hilarious.
That's really fucking good. Where do you go to see your drafts? I'm trying to find mine.
All my drafts on Twitter?
Yeah. Or like my own drafts. I don't know where the fucking...
You press the little quiver or the quill thing, and then there's right next to the tweet button, there's a button that says drafts.
Oh, I guess I don't have any because it's not popping up. Whatever the fuck.
You gotta save them, idiot.
I think I might have just deleted them.
I got another one. This is really fucking weird. I just got out of Ocean's 8. My God, what a despicable film. I won't spoil it, but the climax in the movie involves one of the protagonists getting out of a jam by gripping and disarming a tripwire with her vagina.
You said that, you said that in the group chat, and I like took you like seriously for a second, just because like I can kind of imagine.
There's
that
no
happening.
way, though, that wouldn't happen. Obviously, I don't know why I wrote that. I thought it was funny at the time.
That it is like really funny, and like the fact that I seriously thought that it happened in the movie. I was like, I know that sounds stupid as fuck, but like that sounds amazing, and I want to go see it now.
I think I was thinking like, the joke is that this is a person who hates women. And they've just seen, not the real film, but they're describing something that they're imagining the film's going to be, like, just about how women are women. And they'll be like, this is the female oceans. And the whole thing would be centered around the fact that they have vaginas or something like that. And that this awful person has tweeted this. I reserve the right to viciously criticize and insult the things you care about if I feel like it. That's just honest. I have discovered a hole in my yard, and I'm going to put all of my things in this hole and cover it with my body, and when people approach, I will bark at them and defend my trove of things. No one may look at it, but I will grant each of you a brief sniff. Another one that I have no idea when I wrote.
Fuck. Hang on, I gotta Google how to get to drafts on.
Remember those ads for Capri Sun where a kid would puff up a Capri Sun and then viciously curb stomp it with all of their might, only to be suddenly struck with some twisted monkey's paw-esque curse?
The fuck, dude?
Yeah. I like sending people pictures of me giving them the finger, but I think my hand looks kind of weird, so I used to ask my roommate to let me take a picture of his hand flipping someone off instead. That's actually true. In college, I would do that. Really? I hate my hands. Look how weird they are.
Wait, let me see. Damn. Your hands aren't that weird.
No, they're long. They're like Crypt Keeper hands.
I think if you just overthink it a little bit, you know.
Well, it depends. Like, you remember the first time you saw yourself in like a phone camera and you were just like, ew, weird. My face is backwards or something like that. And then like it's just weird seeing them in pictures. It doesn't make sense yet. Like the first time I made a Vine, I was just like, why is my face backwards? I look weird. And then I just got used to it.
Like I hated, for example, listening to my voice. I think that's something a lot of people
I had that too.
Struggle with. Yeah, like you hate the way you sound. But after doing this and having to edit the podcast after a while, I'm just like really desensitized to it. And I was like, yeah, that's how I sound. Whatever.
It started for me in the elementary school when we first started doing stuff with computers. Our school's kind of like bad, so we didn't have computers, and then we finally got them, and they were like the little carts that had the computer laptops in them, and they were about 900 pounds, and we would take one out and hook it up to the wall, and we could hear the fan spinning up like a jet engine taking off. And we hooked up. We didn't have any microphones, so it was just the internal mic, so it sounded like and it was on top of the fact that there's no way I could believe that it was just me, because the way when we recorded it, it had to be like something we presented. So the line was like, art is the best when it's from the heart or something like that. And I sounded so different because my voice was, I don't know, because your voice is here and it comes out and you hear it differently because your ears are behind you, where your voice comes out. And you can also hear your voice internally, like if you close your mouth. So it was very strange to hear it coming out of something else, and it sounded very different.
That's, I think, is the weirdest bodily phenomenon. Like you don't actually know how you really sound. Like the way I speak and hear myself is like kind of substantially different than how other people hear me, and like how I sound when I like play back audio. That is like bizarre to me. It's like a whole different person talking.
You know how on text, for iPhones, there will be like little text thing, and then there's a microphone next to it, so you can just record a small voice thing.
Yeah. On
that, I sound like Darth Vader. Like my voice becomes like 9,000 times deeper, and it's already super deep. So I sound like really cool, and I like doing that. I send people that stuff all the time.
Fuck. As a threat?
No, maybe.
Okay, I'm gonna read this email. This is from Ingrid. Oh my god. Hi guys, I'm writing this while doing an overnight at the gas station I work at. There's a massive storm and the power is out. That did happen to us here, I think. And holy shit, everything is beeping and I might lose my shit, so I'm re-listening to podcasts to drown it out, so thanks. but to like actually ask a question, what recurring thing or anything at all really would make you go insane? And then she followed up saying, update, the power did come back on after 2.5 hours, and I think I'm still sane.
I'm glad that she survived.
What recurring thing or anything at all would...
Everything bothers me,
really,
so I'm going to let you take the wheel.
Yeah. I think... My parents play pretty loud, like Spanish pop music whenever they do cleaning around the house.
I love Spanish music so fucking much.
But like it's kind of the same like Enrique Iglesias type shit all the time.
Have they started playing the soundtrack for Coco, like Llorona and stuff like that?
I think they just put it on Pandora, so it's like not even like controlled by them. They don't really give a shit. So that stuff can get pretty annoying. What the fuck else bothers me? I tried not to let a lot of shit bother me.
When people criticize your journalistic background.
I don't really even give a shit about that. I was like,
it sounds like you give a lot of a shit about that by your tone. I don't even give a fuck. I don't care what people think about me.
I think it kind of depends who it comes from.
If it's from me, like you know I'm just trying to take the piss out of you. And if it's from someone on Twitter, you will definitely get mad at them. You'll be like, no, your main thing is like bringing up some dude who has the whitest name ever, like Brian Cox or whatever, who has like this angry picture of him, like with the news like background where it's just a picture of the city, and you can see he's like got a lapel mic. So he was took an interview or something like that, and he took a screenshot from that, and that's his profile. And like it's like Mark Rubin or any of those people, like
Dave Rubin.
It just, you spend time like thinking about these people and how stupid they are, and you go on Twitter and you quote tweet them, and you're just like, intellectual heavyweight Mark Rubin weighs in, and it's just like every single time I see you doing that, it's just like you were so mad when you typed that.
That's
because their tweets will be like, the journalists in this country are all fake news. It's like CNN should be blown up or something like that, and you're just like, fucking intellectual heavyweight.
That's I do that about Charlie Kirk all the time, who's a huge fucking dumbass. But you're actually 100% right. That does bother me. I've like unfollowed all those people. I used to follow them because
just because you like getting mad.
No, I was like, it's good to get a variety of opinions, and I don't want to be in a bubble. But then they just like do dumb shit all the time. I was like, I don't give a fucking shit. Like,
yes, you do. You care a lot.
If it's like something really egregious and easy, I will dunk on them, and I'll be like, intellectual heavyweight Charlie Kirk like doesn't know how slavery actually happened or whatever.
It's I don't know. It bothers me because they'll tweet some shit that is fucking awful. It'll be like an impression of a black person who's like, yo, diggity dog, I'm out here with them shits or something like that. Am I gangster enough now? It makes me want to like talk to them in real life and just ask them, like, are you a real person? Is this an impression of an asshole that you do, or is this actually how you think and do stuff? Because they know that it'll get them attention.
Yeah. I just want to be like, are you okay? Like, what are you doing with your life?
What is wrong with you?
Exactly. So yeah, like I guess dumbasses on Twitter do make me go pretty insane, because I try my best to hold my tongue a lot of the time. So I only respond to things that are pretty egregious. Like, so the shit you see from me, if I'm like talking back to someone or quote tweeting them, it's because there were like 10 things before that kind of built up to this, and I need to like unleash some Twitter dunkings, I guess. But thank you for your email, Ingrid.
Should I give an example of something that I hate?
Yeah, go for it.
I really don't know what to pull from, honestly, right now. Can you think of anything that you know that I dislike?
Well, you just talked about it earlier. You hate it when people call you Pat.
My name
you
is
said
Patrick.
You had a list of things. You said
I
you had
did,
a list of things,
but I've erased most of them because I feel like it shouldn't bring them up.
I feel like... Okay, well, since we're on the topic of Twitter, is there a type of person on Twitter that also annoys you?
Okay,
like you see them on your timeline.
This is going to come across
like,
to a lot of people as like, oh, you think suicide isn't bad? It's like, no, I don't. But I also think the humor of this might also come across as I'm offended that people will make jokes about killing themselves, but it's not that at all. It's just that the humor of lol XD, I'm depressed.
Oh, I
want to kill myself. Like, I'm so fucking tired of it. And then people will say that, like something that I think, and I'll agree with that because it's annoying and boring, and you've made that joke 900,000 billion times. And then someone will say, "Is like, people are depressed, John," and then they'll get like 800,000 retweets. It's like, that wasn't what he meant. You know that's not what he meant. He wasn't discounting people's feelings or the fact that they want to kill themselves in real life. They just think that there are people who make those jokes every single day and make memes out of that shit, and it's so boring. That meme needs to die.
Agreed. 100%.
I hate it.
That is another one of my pet peeves. Yeah.
It's amazing that you just said Twitter, and I was like, all right, so here's the...
So fuck anyone on Twitter.
I've started to hate Twitter.
Twitter can be very bad, but can also be very good. It's weird. It's a kind of a weird cesspool, and I think I keep coming back to it because I love the punishment. This is from Skylar. Thank you so much for reading my email on the last podcast. It made my day. I was wondering if you guys could help me with a slight problem that I will spare you the details on. I like how people come to us for like life advice.
This is another college thing, right?
We're just a bunch of fucking schmucks. I don't know. I haven't read it yet.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, it is. Basically, I'm stuck going to a religious college due to my dumbass mistake, but I've never opened a Bible in my life. Do you have any advice on how I can fake my way through? I went to Catholic school for 12 years, and I will tell you that no one
I like a lot
cares.
of the characters, because I've been playing, like
like
Moses I like.
Bible.
Yeah, characters. Moses I like, because I like Prince of Egypt. When I saw that Noah movie with the guy who was in Gladiator. No, maybe it wasn't him.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah, Russell Crowe. No, I don't know if it was Russell Crowe.
It was him.
Yeah. The guy, Methuselah with the flaming sword, is my favorite thing ever. Just that scene where he has the flaming sword and then he sticks it in the ground and just like a wave of fire. That effect is so pretty. Like, just if you're talking about something that you think is cool about the Bible that enthusiastically, someone will be like, "Oh, I guess he is religious." It's like, you may not even. I don't even think that there is anything, but the fact that I think some of the stories are cool might convince someone that I'm an actual Christian.
Yeah, like I would just say that after going to Catholic school for a long ass time, religious school actually turns a lot of people against the faith. So I assure you that you should not have a problem finding other people who probably are soured on the whole thing as well.
And doing it because of their family ties.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if it's like a religion that has like a lot of familial cultural stuff to it, and there's like family pressure. I'm sure you could easily find people in a similar situation. So find them, befriend them, and once you're out, get a beer or something. I don't know. But that's what I have to say.
Once you're out, get a beer? What?
Yeah.
You can only drink after you get out of college.
Maybe. Oh, this is the other thing I wanted to talk about that was kind of fucking crazy. Rebecca sent us this old newspaper.
Oh, yeah.
I
mean, it wasn't that crazy. Those two words rhyme.
It was interesting, but this is from the Colfax Gazette in 1911.
Did you do any research extensive from this?
I didn't look into it at all.
We should.
Pretty busy. They disapprove of us, apparently. Y'all kill it, though, 10 out of 10. It's just a image of the sentence, don't be a prude nor a dude. I'd love to know, like, the greater context, though.
What did dude mean in the whatever Colfax?
1911.
1911?
Prude nor a dude. Yeah, 1911.
That's the year the debut of the Colt 1911 45 caliber handgun that was used in the First and Second World War.
There's a thing that posts old headlines and lines from newspapers. Like, that's fucking crazy. Thank you for that, Rebecca. Appreciate it. Okay.
At first, when I saw that, I was just like, we're so cool. But then it's two words that rhyme. And
yeah. I would want to know, like, what the greater story around that is. Because it seems like there's some shit happening. I don't know.
If
like,
you read
all
like headlines, it's very strange stuff.
Yeah, there's always weird shit there. Let me check the iTunes reviews real quick. We are at 79 ratings right now. We're at 5 stars. We're killing it.
Is it bad that I want it to be 69, even though that would be less?
We were at 69. I think we already made a joke about it. So
we kind of had to have been at one point at 69 if we are now at 79.
Yeah. No one has left any more written reviews, which is fine. You know, if you don't feel like you have anything interesting to say, that's fine.
What? That's not the reason why. It's like, oh, guys, if you're stupid, you don't have to leave anything.
Yeah. If you're, are dumb and not funny, I guess you just don't leave a written review. No. But thanks for leaving reviews, regardless of whether or not you write something or not. If you do write something, though, we'll read it, regardless of its quality. You could probably drop a Mein Kampf paragraph in there, and I will read it on air.
You shouldn't, though. You shouldn't.
You shouldn't, but I might feel obligated to because of your rating, especially because we're one away from 80.
Oh, did you see that tweet that was it said it was by, I'm looking at the video that I made on it, so it's hard to see, but like Mary or whatever said gay weddings are funny. If you feel what you're doing is right, why not dress as your true selves, bride and bride, bridegroom and bridegroom? Why represent a concept you don't stand for? She took a picture of these two women who are getting married, and one of them happened to be wearing a suit and the other one wearing a dress. So her conflict of that was, are you guys doing a cosplay of a straight wedding? This isn't really a gay wedding. It was so stupid. Fucking stupid, dumb, idiot people.
Here's an idea. Who cares? Just fucking.
That was what I said mostly in the
live.
video, besides just trashing them. I said, like, have you ever considered that this person just prefers suits?
Yeah.
And imagining them sitting in a chair like, I'm an idiot, I'm toxic and awful.
It doesn't fucking.
And I assume that
those people are fucking dumb.
They have.
Those are the people you hate on Twitter. There you go.
I hate everyone on Twitter.
All right. Let's wrap this shit up. Thank you again for listening, guys, to the Prude podcast. Thank you for sticking with us, even though this episode is late. Hopefully, it won't be late again next week, but who the fuck knows what happens. If you want to send us any more fan mail or fan art, you can send it to prudedudes@gmail.com. You follow us on Twitter and Instagram at prudedudes. If you want to follow us on our personal accounts where we dunk on idiots all day, I'm at AlexPenda97. Patrick is at PatrickCharlotte5, and Yaman is at its_Yaman. He'll be back soon, eventually, hopefully. Who knows? But if you want to also do the show a huge favor, drop us a rating on iTunes. That'd be sick. But until then, guys, we'll see you again next week.